Hello and welcome to Therapy Book Thursday. I'm glad that you made it here with me today. Today I am going to be reading a little more serious book, but tends to go along with the grief theme. I am a trauma and grief therapist and I love sharing resources and reading books, which is why I do these therapy book readings, because I think a lot of books can have a therapy component or an educational component. Today's book is When Dinosaurs Die, A Guide to Understanding Death. And this is written by Laurie Krasny Brown and Marc Brown. So Laura and Marc Brown wrote and illustrated this book, and we'll go ahead and read it, and then we can discuss a little bit afterwards. Feel free to put any comments or questions in the chat or in the comments before, during, or after this reading. When Dinosaurs Die, A Guide to Understanding Death. And so at the beginning of the book, there's a little table of contents. So if you wanted to jump around to different topics, you could, but we're going to read it straight through. What does alive mean? Every single living being has a beginning, a time to be alive, and then an ending or death. During your lifetime, your body is busy doing its work. You breathe, you move, eat, hear, see, touch, taste, smell, grow, talk, play, think, and feel. Yippee! You're alive and a part of the world. Why does someone die? Dying is a part of life for every living thing. Death happens for different reasons. Someone may die after a long illness, so everyone knew he or she was going to die. Other times, it's a complete surprise. Hurry, hurry! Emergency room. A life can be very long or very short. Even someone just born may not be strong or healthy enough to stay alive. Others may die from being hurt in an accident. Even when doctors and nurses do everything possible to help, some accident victims do not recover. Sometimes lives are lost violently, such as when someone kills someone else. It may be in a war, or for reasons that are very hard to understand, such as poverty, prejudice, and drug abuse. Someone may even be so upset and without hope about his problems that he kills himself. This is called suicide. All kinds of death make people sad. Most of us live long, healthy lives. A child, a mother, or father usually lives until he or she is very old. Grandpa, tell us a story. Are you old yet? What does dead mean? When someone dies, her body stops working. The heart stops beating, the breathing stops. The brain doesn't send or receive messages. She no longer can see, hear, touch, taste, smell, eat, play, feel, or think. She cannot move. Bang, bang, you're dead. Poor little bird. Let me see. Is she sleeping? No, she's dead. She feels all stiff and cold. Someone dead may look asleep, but she isn't sleeping and she cannot wake up. Feelings about death. When someone you care about dies, you may have all kinds of feelings. It may be hard to believe that a dead relative or friend won't be around anymore. It's not true. Grandma isn't dead. She is too. You may have a hard time getting to sleep or have strange dreams or nightmares for a while. In my dream, Yo-Yo was still alive. I dreamt a ghost was chasing me and I was running away. Losing someone who is special to you is very hard to understand. Please, God, let Daddy be alive again. I want him back. You may feel so sad and lonely that it hurts. These feelings are not always easy to talk about, but it helps if you can. I'm not hungry, my tummy hurts. You must miss Uncle Harry very much. What do you miss most? Can I have your dessert? It can be very scary when someone close to you dies. You might wonder about how your life will change. Can we keep our house? Yes, we can. Try not to worry about that. You might worry whether you will die too, or if someone else you love will die. Will I get sick and die like Cousin Boris? A healthy kid like you? Not likely. Things you weren't afraid of before may scare you now. What if we crash too? Well, I will drive very slowly and be extra careful. It's also natural to feel angry when you miss someone so much. Some days you may push away the very hugs you need. There are lots of ways to let out mad feelings without getting in trouble. I hate doctors. You can try running, riding your bike, swimming, basketball, skating, soccer, baseball, punching a pillow, drawing, and talking to friends. You may want some time to yourself and time to be near those you love best. Some things are worth crying about. When someone you love dies, there is no right or wrong way to feel. Among friends. When someone in your family dies, your life is likely to be different, but you hope your friends will treat you the same way they did before. What can we do to welcome Norasaurus back to school? Make her cards? Should we say I'm sorry? We could hug her. I don't know what to do. Still be her friend? Invite her over to play? I don't want to talk about it. It may be hard for your friends to know what to say or what to do to help you feel better. Saying goodbye. Everyone has to decide how to say goodbye when someone important to him or her dies. Dad and I can bury your hamster for you. No, I want to do it. Okay, let's get Harriet ready to be buried. This is a special time to show your love and respect. Sweetheart, dead hamsters don't get hungry. There now, she's ready. Here's a snack in case she gets hungry. Sorry, here you go. Friends and family will want to help you honor the life of your friend. A funeral is a special ceremony for someone who has just died. No more lettuce for Harriet. Let's say a prayer for Harriet. I love you, Harriet. I'll miss you. Your parents can help you decide whether to attend a funeral. You may have many questions about it. You're old, and if we don't have a funeral, will Grandpa come back? You're old enough to come to the funeral. What will it be like, Dad? I want to wear a tie for Grandpa. Going to someone's funeral or memorial service is one way to let a family know you share some of their sadness and some of their good memories too. Even if you don't go to the funeral, you can help out at home, offer extra hugs, or make up a special goodbye poem. Is Grandpa's body really in there? Oh my, I didn't know Morosaurus had so many friends. Keeping customs. There are many special ways of doing things that help us say goodbye to someone who has died. Some families burn incense and bow low in front of a grave. Others sing and pray together at the grave. Part of their circle is left open in honor of the dead one's spirit. Still other families spend several days in mourning by sitting Shiva. They sit on a simple wooden bench and light a candle every day. Some families have a coffin buried underground. Others choose cremation. Many families continue to honor the dead long after they have died. They may say prayers or prepare a special offering. What comes after death? Some things about death and dying are very hard to understand, even for grown-ups. No one can know for sure what comes after death, but almost everyone has an opinion about it. My mom says that Dad lives in our hearts and memories. My family thinks Mom's soul is with God, but I'm not so sure. My science teacher says dead animals and plants never go to waste. They just get recycled. Like when my Aunt Adele died, she donated her eyes to the eye bank. Huh? Life runs in a circular pattern. We are born, go through life, and die. Then we are born again, but in a different form. And the dead shall rise up again and be resurrected. If Grandpa is anywhere, I guess he's in heaven. Where is heaven anyway? If you have questions about it, ask your family or your religious leader. Ways to remember someone. Even when someone you love dies, you don't lose him completely. You still have your memories. That person can always be a part of you. There are many, many things you can do to remember someone. And then we have a lot of things on these pages, and I will read through those. At other times, you may be busy having fun, making friends, learning something new. This is not forgetting the one you love. It just means you're doing other things. Hooray for life. We have making a scrapbook, playing a game like I Remember When with your family and friends, looking at photographs, keep practicing something that they taught you or they did with you, writing a poem about that person, keep something of theirs in a special place, visit their grave, name a pet, a doll, or a stuffed animal after them, joke about funny things you remember doing, make a new friend that reminds you of your person, include them in your drawings. Say a prayer, plant a tree, have a picnic on their birthday. Isn't being alive awesome? And then we have a glossary at the end with a bunch of words like autopsy, cemetery, coffin, corpse, cremation, funeral, grave, hearse, memorial service, mourn, next of kin, wake, widow, widower, and will. And you can read those if you want to later. So I like to just get started when I read these books and talk about them a little bit afterwards. So it is a nice picture book, and it uses dinosaurs to talk about all these different concepts when it relates to death. And I like how, you know, every couple pages was a new topic, a new question. And so you could see that up here. It was like a question or a statement about a particular thing that had to do with death. And those things were marked in the glossary that I showed you in the very beginning. So that if you wanted to, you could skip right to a certain question that maybe your child, your students, your clients are having. And you can answer those. And it doesn't go into every minute detail, but it gives you the opportunity, either as the parent or the caregiver, to go into those details. Like it talks about a funeral, but it just mentions that that's what people do to remember someone that they love who has died. And so you could talk more about what happens in a funeral. And then in the end, you know, there was those glossary of terms. It did mention like a coffin, and so you may talk about that, or you may talk about whether like a casket, whether somebody's going to be an open casket if they're going to see that person. But the biggest thing that I liked about this was all the different descriptions of death and why it happens and what happens, and just that the being very specific, right? So when you're dead, nothing works. And they did do a good job of doing that. In the first couple of pages, they did it at least twice in two different ways of talking about when someone's alive versus when they are dead. animals, bugs, anything, right? When they're alive versus when they're dead, the things that work versus the things that don't work. This is very important for especially young children to understand, because they often can feel and think that the loved one is coming back in some way, and we need them to understand that that's not true. It's also normal for kids to have all these questions and to have them repeatedly and to ask them over and over and over again. So something for you to consider if you're reading this, or you have a child or a classmate or students or a client who may be experiencing the death of a loved one. This would be a good book to maybe start or recommend. So I hope you enjoyed listening to this book today. And if you have any questions or thoughts or concerns, you can put those in the comments. I look forward to reading those. And you can purchase this book and all of the other books that I've read on Therapy Book Thursday on my Amazon list. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.